Hello and welcome everyone. I am Dr. Asawari Sawant, Senior Sub-Editor at Elets Technomedia, India's leading and largest B2B multimedia platform. On behalf of Elets Technomedia and the Banking and Finance Post magazine, I extend a warm welcome to all of you for the launch of a very exciting series that we are doing, which is the Elets Fintech Dialogues in collaboration with the Department of Electronics, IT, Biotechnology and Science and Technology, Government of Karnataka. This exclusive series is an integral part of the World Fintech Summit, which is an upcoming two-day premier event by Elets Technomedia that brings together the global fintech and BFSI community together on one platform. From policymakers and industry leaders to innovators and key stakeholders, this summit fosters meaningful collaborations aimed at driving innovation and growth in financial services worldwide. We are honored to have the Department of Electronics, IT, Biotechnology and Science and Technology, Government of Karnataka as our host state partner, along with the Karnataka Digital Economy Mission as our strategic partner for the upcoming World Fintech Summit. The BFSI Post is Asia's premier B2B magazine that is dedicated to the BFSI sector and has been shaping industry narratives for over a decade. This Elets Fintech Dialogue series celebrates those trailblazing leaders and innovators whose fintech-driven initiatives are transforming lives and industries. And today we are privileged to host an inspiring entrepreneur who has been instrumental in revolutionizing the BFSI industry sector. It is an absolute pleasure to welcome Mr. Manish Kumar, who is the founder and CEO of KredX.
Thank you, Asavri. Thanks a lot for this. Really glad to join the show and really glad to share any knowledge that I have which can be useful to the larger audience.
The pleasure is ours, sir. We are thrilled to have you with us. For our audience, Mr. Manish Kumar is an IIT Kanpur alumnus and he's a seasoned leader in the banking and financial industry with over a decade of experience. He began his career in 2005 as a business consulting manager at HSBC, later heading the credit risk acquisition for the bank's card and retail services division. In 2012, he joined the Capital One as an associate director, gaining deep insights into the financial ecosystem, driven by a vision to address the working capital challenges faced by businesses. Mr. Manish founded KredX, India's leading supply chain financing platform, and under his leadership, KredX has achieved significant milestones, earning recognition among the top global fintech innovators and receiving numerous industry accolades, including Entrepreneur of the Year in Business Services, Startup of the Year, and multiple Fintech Excellence Awards. With strong track record in financial innovation and business growth, Mr. Manish continues to spearhead KredX's mission to revolutionize the supply chain financing in India. Once again, sir, thank you so much for joining us for this very special episode of Elets Fintech Dialogues. It is truly an honor to have you with us today. Now, let us begin with our conversation. We would first like to know from you how has the fintech landscape evolved in India over the past decades, as per your experience from when you started to now where you are, and what key trends do you see that are shaping the future of the fintech solutions? Over to you.
Oh, massive changes. In fact, 10 years back when we started, I don't think we were talking about UPI. Now we are only carrying mobile phone and left wallets, left cards, left cash, everything at home. We have never heard of possibly, or we were at the nascent stage of hearing discount brokerage. Now discount brokerage is everywhere, and if any banks charges you any brokerage, and people just frown upon them and say that what brokerage, right? Massive changes. Your digital lending per se, when people has to go to the banks, multiple banks, looking into that how they can get the access to loans and all. Now fundamentally it's an app away, or an app click away. So there are massive changes that has happened in terms of it. Payment as such has gone through massive changes. I think we are possibly a decade or even more ahead of even the most developed country in the world in terms of payment. Discount brokerage, the kind of changes that we happened by the regulators, let's say SEBI has changed the settlement cycle to, from T+2 to T+1 to now T0 also. All those things are, literally placed us at the top of the curve in terms of fintech revolution. I myself have spoken to a lot of central banks in Middle East, in Africa, in Southeast Asia, and most of the central banks is right now trying to copying what RBI is doing in India. They said that they are facing the same issues. We have already seen UPI being exported to other countries. I think we will be hearing very soon that a lot of other solution with RBI and SEBI has launched that also is going to get exported to other countries, because what we are developing is fundamentally very low cost, large volume kind of access, right? So we are not working for only 5 million or 10 million people. We are working for hundreds of millions of billions of people. It's low cost because India as a country cannot afford anything that as a high cost solution. So it's very very extremely low cost solutions that we are developing. I think with the advent of AI, it's going to become even more low cost, because we are seeing extreme kind of efficiency that is coming up in terms of that. So I would say that there are massive changes that has happened in last 10 years. And if, let's say, the slope of change in last 10 years is, let's say, 70-degree straight line, I would not be surprised if it would be an exponential rise from here, because there are a lot of massive changes that are again going to come, what we have seen so far in terms of the industries.
Thank you so much, sir, for highlighting that. All these changes that you have mentioned, of course, for businesses, with increasing, challenges that they are facing, especially around liquidity challenges, etc. We would be very curious to know more as to how is KredX innovating to address the evolving needs of enterprises and MSMEs in supply chain financing areas.
I think out of all the changes that I spoke about, and possibly one change which where we are front running the show is basically the change related to threats, where what threats has done is literally democratize the entire working capital or raising fund for MSMEs. MSMEs are always plagued with these working capital issues, which is B2B payment issues, which is fundamentally that when I supply a product or services to another company, I don't get the payment immediately, right? My payments are delayed by 30, 60, 90, sometimes 120, 180 days also, right? Now assume a scenario where you are a small merchant, you supplied something to a large company, and the large company said that now I will pay you in 90 days or 120 days. It basically hampers my entire thing. I can't go ahead and do anything. So earlier, when the solution was go to banks, securitize, put security of your machinery or your land or your houses or your homes, and get some money from the bank at higher interest rate. Now fundamentally you can come to the trades platform, sell those invoices which was due to you in 120 days at literally like 30% lower cost than what you are getting from banks, right? So that is itself has become a massive change, right? So if you see the trades volume that has grown, combined together all the trades is doing more than 4 to 5 billion dollar a month. That itself says, and with 100% growth rate, that itself says how much changes that has been done. And we are still, I would say that we have not still scratched even maybe 2-3% of the problem that is there, right? So once this will go to every single MSME with the change in definition which has happened during this budget, where the MSME definition has been changed from 250 crore to 500 crore. All these changes is going to massively benefit the MSME. When I said in the previous questions that a lot of banks, central banks are approaching us to understand what we guys are doing, a lot of them are actually trying to launch even the threats or a similar kind of platform in their countries, right? So it's the changes that is happening in terms of providing cheap access to capital, providing faster access to capital, provides a simple way of providing capital, and also in the process digitize the entire account payable, account receivable for MSME. So at KredX, what we do is we have sort of provided integrated solutions to our customers, where we are not only helping them in their domestic supply chain finance, but we are also helping them in their export import finance. So any companies in India who is either doing both export import or doing domestic selling to other buyers, we can provide them a solution to finance their receivables. We can also automate their entire financial functions so that they can reduce their workforce that is right now getting spent on their entire finance function. So automating your entire B2B payments, from your automation of your entire process in finance to getting the payment to getting finance if required, it's all can be done at one place itself.
Thank you so much, sir. So I believe with the advent of AI, ML, and big data, and all these emerging technologies, there have been many advancements that have been made in this sector as well. In the kind of services that you provide, also in the kind of speed and inputs that are required to deliver those criteria deliverables. So, how has these emerging technologies been leveraged at KredX? If you can elaborate that. Also, on your personal experience, how are these technologies impacting the wider fintech landscape? Is it going towards the good, or is it going to be a really serious issue if, in future, if certain protocols are not set in place? What are your thoughts?
I think to answer your first question, I think we are using AI a lot. In fact, our entire platform is built AI up. We realized whilst trying to solve the supply chain finance problem that the bigger problem is B2B payments, and B2B payments is not just the payment part of it. There is a prepayment, there's a post payment, which requires a lot of people, a lot of sort of going back and forth between stakeholders to get the approval, get the PO release, work order, GR, and all those things. And that is where we realize that it can solve massively by the use of AI. So we build our CMS system AI up, using that AI and payment as a base foundational layer, and build everything on top of that. Right? How it helped us is that for a large companies who are taking almost anything from 45 to 50 days to close their books after the end of the year or end of the quarter, they can literally do it in less than 24 hours now. So we have a AI based cash posting module and collection module which can almost 99% automate your entire cash posting. So all those things is we have a digitization where we digitize any invoices written, put in any format into a complete digital with literally click of a button, right? So a lot of these things has reduced the work that is required from the company's perspective. What that led to is fundamentally freeing up 40% of the time for the finance as a function, and that 40% time can be utilized in something else in terms of it, right? So there is a massive efficiency gain that has happened because of the what we have built to the platform. Some of these features has also gone to to basically the TREX platform, the financing platform also, where we are using a lot of agentic AI to basically reduce the onboarding time, or do the credit risk management and other things around it. Now, to your second question is how these things is shaping up the industry. I think there's two ways shaping up. One is fundamentally using AI to build up the technology for it, right? So that itself is a big change that has happened in the industry. So what earlier, let's say, was done by 10 developers is now being done by literally 1 to 2 developers, right? So there is a lot of change in terms of how you're building a tool, how you're building a technology has changed. So that is using AI layers for coding and for testing and other kind of a thing. So that is one part of it. So that once you improve your own efficiency by reducing the time to market and also cost to market, so this will go translate into a cost benefit for your customer. The second thing that has also happened is a lot of agentic AI is now working upon, which is basically helping the customers, which was so India being a large diverse country, right, have so many languages being spoken. there was always a problem with the customers is customers are not prone to talking with the digital sense. They don't know how to use technology. You need to talk to the customer in their native language. So with the use of AI, it has become super easy, right? So I can have an agent, a AI agent, which can talk in maybe 50 languages, and it looks like that to the customer that they are actually talking to the humans, get them onboarded, solve their queries, solve their problems in literally at a fraction of the cost. So I don't need to put a multilingual call centers to call all these customers. This can be done by agentic AI. So a lot of these changes has happened. The third front, which where it is still working it out, is fundamentally in terms of your credit risk management, and as well as in terms of your forecasting and projection of the entire thing. So a lot of work is also going on using ML AI in terms of risk forecasting, risk projection, risk management, and all. I think that is the third layer where AI ML can work with the fintech industries.
Thank you so much, sir. And we would be excited to know and hear more such news from KredX, launching all these different services under its umbrella as well. So moving forward, there are many, regulatory challenges that fintech startups face in India. And in your opinion, how do you navigate compliance while driving innovation at KredX? So we would like to know from your experience with KredX and also previous organizations, for all the entrepreneurs that are watching and also aspiring to be at your position.
See, I think there is very clear cut in terms of fintech. Since fintech are companies who are touching the money, I would basically segregate fintechs into two kind of fintechs, right? One is basically companies who doesn't touch the money, right? So, for example, RegTech, or companies who are providing some kind of a softwares to banks or other fintech companies, right? So that is basically a very hardcore tech. I've given the tech, you use the tech, you work on it, right? That is one kind of a fintech company. The second kind of fintech companies are companies who touches people's money. Let's say payment companies, let's say stockbroking companies, let's say lending companies, let's say trades, right? All these kind of companies touches people's money. So companies who are touches people's money has to have some kind of a fiduciary responsibility, because you are touching the money, right? Some of these fiduciary responsibility has also comes with a compliance setup, which is additional cost to you, but unfortunately there is no shortcut to it, right? I think RBI is a regulator, government, SEBI, everybody has make it amply clear that there's no shortcut to compliance. There's no shortcut to being compliant, right? Now, whether you are regulated, whether you are not regulated, I think my suggestions to any new fintech who are trying to do is try to segregate your company into these two things. Either you're providing a software or certain kind of services where you're not touching the fund, or you're touching the fund. If you're touching the fund, make sure that you're completely compliant, right? Even if the you are not coming under the purview of any of the regulator, you can still be compliant by doing the right thing, right? There's no sort of alternative to doing the right thing. So always keep in mind that you are knowing your customers, you are making sure that your platform is not getting used to do some stuff which is not which is in gray area. So in confusion, if you feel that you are in a gray area, don't do it, right? That's my one line of suggestions to all the aspiring fintech.
Thank you so much, sir. So, moving on, with the increasing concerns around data security and fraud detection, there have been many, protocols taken by the government and different banks as well to make people more aware around all these scams and frauds that are going on around this money and financing sector. So, how does KredX ensure a robust risk management system, as well as, making sure that the trust is built with the businesses? How do you make sure?
So as KredX is now a doubly regulated company, in terms of we are regulated by RBI and we regulated by IFSC and GIFT City also. There is a certain set of procedures as a regulated entity that we need to follow. So there are SAR audits, which is a system audit report which we have to submit every 2 years to RBI. And IFSCA. There is also that we need to follow a certain kind of a compliance. But even before we get regulated by IRBI, we were a ISO 27001 company from, I think, since we started almost the company. So we have gone a step ahead and said that doesn't matter who is regulating or not regulating us. We always needs to be sure, because if you're, as I said, if you're touching customers' money, then you have to be, there is a fiduciary responsibility, and that's where you have to put some of the walls and gates and all those things. So we do a lot of penetration testing. We do a lot of white hat, black hat, gray hat hacking attempts to understand what are the what are the loopholes in our own system. We go through a lot of system audits, as different kind of system audits by external consultant, to make sure that we are following all the checks and balances which are there. We do IP whitelisting. We make sure that the access, even internally, right? So a lot of times, a lot of these fraud or scam happens by internal employees also. So we have a role-based access control and need-based access control, right? So whoever doesn't need access to something, we don't give that access to. So there are a lot of checks and balances that has been put into in terms of it. Now, because of the advent of AI, what will also happen is that all these scams will also started becoming more and more finer and more refiner, right? And I think a bigger part of for all companies to keep themselves on check, to see that what are the new methods that scamsters are using, and how you can safeguard your customers, your platform, your system, and create the trust that is there with the of your customer with your system, and continue to have that, because it takes you decades to build the trust, and it goes away in like literally blink of the eye. So that is where we have a full team set up, which always keeps on looking into in terms of what kind of security that we can provide onto our system, and how to safeguard our customer from any kind of scam or any kind of hacking attempts and other things.
Thank you so much, sir. We come down to the next half of the discussion. As we're enjoying it thoroughly, we would like to know more into your journey into entrepreneurship and the organization. So, if you could look back at the entire journey that you had with KredX, founding it, building it, and pulling it through till this successes, and if you could change certain things while during the journey, what would those be? And why?
I don't know. I think I would not like to change anything, except possibly become a regulated entity much earlier, right? I would not like to change anything. Yes, we have launched a lot of products in between. We have closed a lot of products in between, but I feel that is part of all innovation and iteration, right? If we don't do any innovation and iteration, then you will be dead, right? So I used to say that the average age of knowledge was 10 years back was around 2 to 3 years. So every 2 to 3 years there is a new set of information and knowledge comes into picture. I think with AI and all the changes that is happening, the average age of knowledge has gone to 6 months now, or even lesser. So the question is, if everything is going to get refreshed after 6 months, then, and if you are not innovating in that things, then you will not survive, right? So if the day you will stop innovating is the end of your company for that day. So I'd not suggest, I would not change anything for that, except possibly that become a regulated entity much faster than what we have taken time in terms of it.
Another area that we would really like to know your thoughts and your suggestions is what are the trends and what are the areas in the fintech landscape that you feel are really going to grow in the next 2 or 5 years? So we're not talking about next 10 years as we used to talk earlier. As with the advent of AI and ML, etc., things are much happening much faster. So in the next 2 to 5 years, which technologies in fintech, which areas should be tapped or need more looking into, that have a bigger potential of growth, according to you?
I think very soon we will seeing a lot of AI automation coming up for companies, be it finance automations, but mostly finance automation, because that's the last space in companies which people try to work in terms of it. So there will be a lot of AI based finance automation, finance workflow automation, etc. will come apart. I think the second thing which will possibly haven't seen much changes in last maybe 8-10 years is B2B payment. So when in B2C payment we are like decades ahead of the world using UPI. In the B2B payment side we are still using checks, we are still using demand draft, we are still using NEFT RTGS, which takes time, so I think there will be, and this is B2B payment is going to be even bigger than B2C payment, so there will be a massive change that will be soon coming up in B2B payments also. The third piece which I feel is going to be again have a massive changes is your trade finance piece, because there's a massive gap in trade finance. So if you see right now in India, including export and import, we do roughly around 100 billion a year, a month, and this is between export and import mix, and the total credit availability is roughly around $2 to $3 billion a month, right? So there's a massive 98 billion kind of a gap which is there every month, which is not getting fulfilled. And if India really wants to become an exporting country and increase GDP from let's say 4 trillion to maybe 20 trillion or whatever, we need to become an export driven economy, and for export driven economy we need to make sure that our exporters are getting paid on time, right? So that changes that there will be a massive changes that will happen on a trade finance side. In the fourth thing I feel where there could be a massive change is also on insurance side, because insurance I feel is a massively unpenetrated sector in India. Is still maybe 95 to 96% of the people in India doesn't have a health insurance. We still thinks insurance is LIC, right? And we still afraid to buy a term insurance which does not gives you return at the end of the year or return of the policy period, right? So I think those are some of the massive changes that will definitely we can see in terms of fintech in next 2 to 5 years.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing. We are excited to, witness all these changes that would be happening in the coming years, I'm sure. So, as KredX continues to grow, what strategies are you focusing on to expand your offerings and also reach newer markets and strengthen your industry position? Do you have any exciting, projects lined up which align with these goals? We are very curious.
We have actually recently launched our AI-based cash management system, CMS system. It's a SaaS platform which basically gives buyers or sellers on the B2B side complete control on their account payable, account receivable. It automates their entire process from your two-way, three-way matching like PO2 invoice matching, or cash posting, or collections, or reconciliations. All those process gets automated. So as I said earlier, that we have seen companies who has already taken our CMS product efficiency gain of more than 40%, and overall almost around 30 to 35% impact on their bottom line. So that's a massive changes that we have seen, including this. Now what we have done is we have created this integrated platform where we have merged CMS with our trades platform and our cross-border trade finance, and we are giving this as a combined offering to all our clients, where we can say that we can become your one-stop shop for your entire finance and your financing needs, right? So whether it's a finance as a function, or whether you have a financing need, we can become your one-stop solution, and we can provide everything at a single platform where you don't need to get out and talk to anybody else, right? So that's the entire thing that we have given. Our team continue to work a lot on innovation. We continue to drive on new things. Recently what we have done is we used AI very extensively in our CMS product, where we can literally customize all and any finance workflow within few days, which used to earlier take few months, because every finance functions are very personal to the companies, and earlier it used to customize them, create the automation, it used to take few weeks. Now it has come to literally like 1 to 2 days, in which we can customize even a very sort of a difficult and very different kind of a customization also.
Thank you so much, sir. So we now come down to the end of our very insightful discussion. But before we let you go, we have two quick questions for you. They're part of a tradition that we have at Fintech Dialogues. One being for the audience that is purely B2B, and for organizations in the B2B space, partnerships play a very crucial role. So if you were to voice out any of your expectations or thoughts about collaborations and partnerships, one to the policymakers that are watching this show, as we reach to that audience as well, two to the private industry in the fintech space, and three to the technology enterprises, the budding startups that are watching this space. So what would those thoughts be if you were to voice out to these three sectors?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of partnership. In fact, I have always told my team also and believe in this that people should not reinvent the wheel. That means and has to stick to what is your strength, right? So for example, our strength lies with providing technology for supply chain finance and for B2B payment. I would stick to it. I don't want to go and do something which is not my core competencies, right? For example, if a company is providing me how to do a KYC in a better way, I would go ahead and take that because fundamentally somebody has cracked that code. I keep on saying to even our banking partners is banks' core competencies is fundamentally their balance sheet, which is basically getting funds at literally very low cost of capital, right? The bank core competency is not into technologies or let's say providing just a supply chain finance, right? Then banks should use their balance sheet to leverage somebody else's technologies to provide that massive experience. I also believe that there was used to be a concept called owning the customer and wallet share. I think the world has moved out of it. Now the world has moved to saying that owning the customer experience for that particular experience and happy with what services you are providing. So for example, if I am providing just a UPI, I will just become the god of providing that UPI amazing experience to my customer. I would not like to go and say that okay, I will also provide you a loan services or I will also provide you something else which I don't have the expertise, right? It may be possible I will try to create that expertise, but just trying to say that no, this is my customer, I will own it, doesn't make sense, right? So similarly for companies also, right? A lot of companies, a lot of manufacturing companies, they're doing a lot of stuff, but the world is moving very very fast, right? if there is if there is a technology available which is going to make your life easier in doing the work that you are doing, which is basically manufacturing certain stuff, then just go ahead and take that technology. There's no harm in it. Be open to technology because it's changing the world. It's reducing your work, it's reducing your cost, and it's making you massively profitable. So be open to that. There's no point living in a silos, think that this world has not changed. The world has changed and it's changing every day. So be open to partnership in all the front that is possible.
Thank you so much, sir. And the last question for you is it is a tradition over here at the FinTech Dialogues that whichever organization leader is here, we ask them to share with us for our audience exclusively one piece of information about the organization or its upcoming projects, etc., whichever you are able to share that hasn't been revealed on any other platform yet, solely exclusively for our audience, to whatever limit that you are able to share.
So I have I think already revealed it in a way that we are working in terms of a new product for finance automation, which is going to heavily used AI and going to make the life of our customer much easier in terms of the current 40% efficiency gain that we are talking about may get doubled after we will able to release that to the market.
Thank you so much, sir. And we are excited to hear that news from you again. Hopefully, have you back with at our show for more in-depth conversation around the new launch. So, thank you so much. With that, we come down to the end of very insightful discussion. We would like to thank Mr. Manish Kumar, founder and CEO of KredX, for taking out your time and sharing a wealth of knowledge and information with us today. We would also like to thank our audience for being with us till the very end. If you have any questions for KredX or Mr. Manish, please feel free to leave them in the comments down below. We will get back to you with the answers from him. Also, if you have any suggestions for any other amazing organizations and leaders that are working in the fintech space, also leave those in the comments down below. We would make sure to have them on this platform for further insightful discussions. So thank you so much, sir.
Thanks, Asri. Thanks a lot, and thanks for the Elets team. Please give my regards to all your team who was working behind the scene for making this a successful show. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. With that, we close off now. Stay informed with us on the latest BFSI updates, and we will come back to you with more such information. Thank you.
Thank you.